Hello! Are you looking to draft some fullbacks? I know you are. Come join me while we draft some fullbacks together. The first week you can scout players is week 3, which is where we're at. We're going to jump down. Yes, we want to use auto-generated. And here we are. We're going to jump over to fullbacks. And of course, you want to conserve points so you can scout as many players as possible. So we're just going to hit it up with the first category of each player. And we can see, well, everyone's pretty close. So unfortunately, we're going to go to the next one for each one. That's pretty close, so I'm just going to keep going. We can kind of see where some people are separating themselves from each other. Normally you have quite a bit of a wide range. I mean, you might have the first stat be an A, and then a B, and then a C. These guys, they're staying up there pretty good. There's only 5 guys, so we might as well just hit it up with everybody. Boom, we've scattered all the fullbacks. And just looking at this class in general, it's a very good looking class overall. And if you look over at the diamonds on the left, Danny Martin down here, they are saying is a first round talent. And pulling it up, it says he's a late first round talent. And really all that does is kind of give you an idea of where his overall is. Of course, a fullback doesn't progress very fast unless you tweak the XP sliders. So really this is just based off of overall, which is a 75 overall fullback really worth that much? No, but that's where his overall compares to the overalls of the other players. Of course, you'd rather have a 75 overall quarterback. And moving up, we see everyone else here is either a 2 or a 3. And you can jump in and see, okay, mid-second, and mid-second again, early third. Okay, everyone's pretty well close as far as what the computer says. Now, you also have to factor in, what type of fullback am I looking for? Am I looking for someone who's just going to be an extra offensive lineman in the backfield? Just someone who's going to run over some linebackers? In that case, there's only one choice. We were looking at Jalen Rivers. He's the only blocking archetype. So, of course, that's going to be your man. But if you look more closely, if you go down to Danny Martin, even though his type is utility, which there is only the 2 types, his first stat actually is B+ lead blocking, which is the same as Jalen Rivers, so their lead blocking should be right about the same. But in the case of Danny Martin, his trucking actually is slightly lower than Jalen Rivers, which is very interesting, but his stiff arm is higher, which also means that his floor, at least as far as the floor that we can see, is higher because he's at a B versus a B-. And at this point, we're going to skip ahead to where we have the combine scores, and then we can really narrow down our decision from there. But one more thing before we get here, I should show you how to upgrade your coach so you can get more scouting points each week. So you go over to the team tab, down to coach, spend XP, and right here at the very top, expert scouting. Hit that, it's 1,400 points and completely worth it. And there we go from getting 175 points each week to 200 each week. 25 more points doesn't sound like that much, but 25 is approximately how much it is to scout one player fully. So in approximately 17 scouting weeks, that's going to be 17 extra players that you can scout. We are here in off-season free agency number 2, and it is the first time we can see the combine grade. So let's jump in and see what it looks like. Just at a cursory glance, over here on the right, you have the overall score. We have 6.4, 6.4, 6.3, 6.0, and 5.9. Everyone's relatively close. And starting down here at the bottom, we have 5.9. Brady Cooper. There are 5 people in the class, and he's 4th or 5th in just about everything. He's not very athletic. His skills aren't that good. You just don't really want this guy, not compared to everybody else. Todd Sylvester, slightly better score. He's the 2nd fastest guy, but other than that, he's not that athletic. His skills are much better, but he's not that great. It looks like he's a receiving back because he has catching up there, and he has some speed, so he might be an option if you're someone who's going to want to throw to your fullback. Dion Whitfield. Looks like he's relatively average to below average as far as athleticism. He's average for speed and strength, and his top skills are decent. Jalen Rivers, one of our top guys as far as athleticism, but he is slow and he is strong. And oh, that's right, this is our blocking back, so that kind of makes sense. So he does have the strength to kind of back everything up. But outside of that, he's not really that athletic. Yeah, he has a good 3-cone and a good broad jump, but how much good is that going to do you? Really? You want bench and dash. And going up to Danny Martin, who I believe was our top guy. They were projecting him to be a late first rounder. It moved to early second, but athletically, he is the man in the class. First in the 40-yard dash, first in the vertical jump, first in the 20-yard shuttle, first in bench press, second in 3-cone, and third in broad jump. So at worst, he is average, and just about everything else he is number 1 in. He is way more athletic than anybody else. And once again, looking at the player skills, his skills match up with everybody else's. He has a bit of a drop-off compared to Jalen Rivers and Todd Sylvester as far as the second trait, but the floor is the same, having B, B, and B, and he is easily the most athletic guy. So I would say, without a doubt, Danny Martin is the man that you want, and I wouldn't settle for anything less. And before you go into the draft, it's always good to add your players to your draft board. All you do is hit triangle, and there they are. You see the little star popping up on the side. And once you've added them to your draft board, you just go over to the draft board. It just popped up right there. Hold X to reorder, and then you can drag them up and down. So I'm going to go Danny Martin. I'm thinking Dion Whitfield, then Jalen Rivers, then Todd Sylvester, and Brady Cooper. These three look pretty close, and there's really that big jump up to Danny Martin and down to Brady Cooper. Let's get into the draft and see how we did. And here we are at the draft. Let's jump in and make our selection. With the first overall pick, we are taking somebody you would never want to take with the first overall pick, but we are going to do it just for this experiment's sake. It's going to say it was a bad choice, and yeah, it would be, but we know it's okay. 70 overall, that's not bad. You probably want to take him in the maybe 5th round, 6th round, somewhere in there. And he's kind of around in the area that we were looking for. Let's skip ahead and look at the next guy. So back in here now, Dion Whitfield. He is the second guy on our board. And 68 overall, so he's slightly lower. Dion was a decent player. Probably want to take him in the 6th round. Now we are down to Jalen Rivers. Should be pretty close to the last guy. And 67, just a touch lower. So far we've got 70, we got 68, we got 67. We're doing it just right in order. Next up, we're going to do Todd Sylvester. And 68, okay, it's a little better. This isn't an exact science, but still pretty well in the same ballpark. I said that those middle 3 guys were real close. And you know what? We did 68, 67, 68. Still right around in the same ballpark. And with our last pick, Brady Cooper, I'm going to say 65. Let's see. 67, okay. Sometimes it's good to be wrong, especially when they're better than you thought. But he was still tied with being the worst guy, so I was right in that he was the worst, even though I thought the other guys were better. And really, that's going to do it for this fullback tutorial. The only thing that I didn't touch on was, when in doubt, go for the younger player, because the younger a player is, the faster he progresses, and vice versa. So if you pick up a 24-year-old, he's going to progress significantly slower than the 21-year-old. And that's going to do it for this tutorial on how to draft fullbacks on Madden 20. This is Extinguisher 10, and if you like this video and want to see more like it, I have several other tutorials on the channel on how to draft players. We also have our relocation franchise series with the London Bulldogs, and of course we also have Madden experiments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. This is Extinguisher 10 signing out. Have a great rest of your day.